toward a definition of mixed methods research. R. Burke Johnson, University of South Alabama, Mobile. Anthony J. Onwegbuzi, University of South Florida, Tampa. Lisa A. Turner, University of South Alabama, Mobile. The purpose of this article is to examine how the field of mixed methods currently is being defined. The authors asked many of the current leaders in mixed methods research how they define mixed methods research. The authors provide the leaders' definitions and discuss the content found as they searched for the criteria of demarcation. The authors provide a current answer to the question, what is mixed methods research? They also briefly summarize the recent history of mixed methods and list several issues that need additional work as the field continues to advance. They argue that mixed methods research is one of the three major research paradigms: quantitative research, qualitative research, and mixed methods research. The authors hope this article will contribute to the ongoing dialogue about how mixed methods research is defined and conceptualized by its practitioners. Keywords: mixed methods, mixed methodology, mixed research, multi-method, paradigm, pragmatist. Mixed methods research, also called mixed research in this article, is becoming increasingly articulated, attached to research practice, and recognized as the third major research approach or research paradigm. One along with qualitative research and quantitative research. In this article, we will show that there might not be a single criterion of demarcation for mixed methods research, but there are several important criteria for thinking about mixed methods research in a narrow or pure sense, as well as in a broader or highly inclusive sense. We believe that whereas there might not be a perfect or essentialist definition forthcoming, dialogue and social construction of a workable definition is a worthwhile goal for the field, understanding, of course, that definitions can and will usually change over time as the approach or research paradigm continues to grow. The classical pragmatic philosophers I. Pierce, James, Dewey had it right when they pointed out that the present is always a new starting point. This article has four related purposes. First, we will review the recent history of mixed methods research to place the forthcoming definitions in recent historical context. Second, we list 19 definitions and summarize them through content analysis and discussion. The summary definition we provide is the result of an online discussion with several leaders in the field. Third, we also provide definitions of qualitative dominant and quantitative dominant mixed methods research. Fourth, we list several issues that might need additional Journal of Mixed Methods Research, Volume 1, Number 2, April 2007, 11-133. 2007 Sage Publications 10.117/1558689806298-4.http://jmmr.sagepub.com. Hosted at http online sagepub.com 112. Attention as the field advances. We hope that the definitions provided here will be useful as the field continues positioning itself as one of the three methodological or research paradigms at qualitative research, quantitative research, and mixed methods research. A recent history of mixed methods research. Moderate skepticism, Cicero, Sextus Empiricus, go back at least to ancient Western philosophy, and the spirit of these debates lives today in the different views of the three major approaches to social research. According to Plato, Protagoras said that man is the measure of all things, and in many ways the history of Western philosophy still is debating Protagoras and the other sophists. Too, this debate continues to affect how we view knowledge, what we look for, what we expect to find, and how we believe we are to go about finding and justifying knowledge. We would position mixed research between the extremes Plato quantitative research and the sophists qualitative research, with mixed research attempting to respect fully the wisdom of both of these viewpoints while also seeking a workable middle solution for many research problems of interest. Today, the primary philosophy of mixed research is that of pragmatism. Mixed methods research is, generally speaking, an approach to knowledge theory and practice that attempts to consider multiple viewpoints, perspectives, positions, and standpoints, always including the standpoints of qualitative and quantitative research. Mixed research, in its recent history in the social and behavioral or human sciences, started with researchers and methodologists who believed qualitative and quantitative viewpoints and methods were useful as they addressed their research questions. For the first 60 years or so of the 20th century, mixed research, in the sense of including what we today would call qualitative and quantitative data, can be seen in the work of cultural anthropologists and especially the fieldwork sociologists, for example Gans, 1963, Hollingshead, 1949, Yehuda, Lazarsfeld, and Zeisel, 1931-2003, Lind and Lind, 1929-1959. However, the mixed methods label would not be coined until many years later. It is interesting to browse the books written by these earlier social scientists to see how they blended qualitative and quantitative data as they studied their communities. Although mixed methods research is not new, it is a new movement or discourse or research paradigm with a growing number. In the social science methodological literature, Campbell and Fisk's 1959 article sometimes is viewed as formalizing the practice of using multiple research methods. In this 1959 article, Campbell and Fisk introduced the idea of triangulation, referring to multiple operationalism, in which more than one method is used as part of a validation process that ensures that the explained variance is the result of the underlying phenomenon or trait. Johnson et al., toward a definition 113, and not of the method, for example, quantitative or qualitative. It was argued that the convergence of findings stemming from two or more methods enhances our beliefs that the results are valid and not a methodological artifact. Bouchard, 1976, p. 268. Interestingly, during the early 1950s, even though he did not use the term multiple operationalism, Boring 1953 foreshadowed this concept as follows: as long as a new construct has only the single operational definition that is received at birth, it is just a construct. When it gets two alternative operational definitions, it is beginning to be validated. When the defining operations, because of proven correlations, are many, then it becomes reified. p. 2-2 closing parenthesis. As can be seen, however, the idea of multiple operationalism is more of a measurement and show explicitly how to use multiple research methods for validation purposes. The ideas of Campbell and Fisk 1959 were extended further by Webb, Campbell, Schwartz, and Secularist 1966, who define multiple operationalism as representing the use of multiple measures that are hypothesized to share in the theoretically relevant components, but have different patterns of irrelevant components. p. 3. According to Webb et al., once a proposition has been confirmed by two or more independent measurement processes, the uncertainty of its interpretation is greatly reduced. The most persuasive evidence comes through a triangulation italics added of measurement processes. If a proposition can survive the onslaught of a series of imperfect measures with all their irrelevant error, confidence should be placed in it. Of course, this confidence is increased by minimizing error in each instrument and by a reasonable belief in the different and divergent effects of the sources of error. p. 3. Thus, Webb et al. Are credited with being the first to coin the term triangulation. This type of triangulation is referred to as between or across method triangulation. It was Denzin 1978 who first outlined how to triangulate methods. Denzin defined triangulation as the combination of methodologies in the study of the same phenomenon. p. 291. Denzin outlined the following 4 types of triangulation. A data triangulation. I. Use of a variety of sources in a study. B. Investigator triangulation. I.e. use of several different researchers. C. Theory triangulation. I. use of multiple perspectives and theories to interpret the results of a study. And D. Methodological triangulation. I.e. use of multiple methods to study a research problem. Denzin also distinguished within methods triangulation, which refers to the use of either multiple quantitative or multiple qualitative approaches, from between methods triangulation, which involves the use of both quantitative and qualitative approaches. Denzin surmised that within methods triangulation had limited value, because essentially only one paradigm, for example, quantitative, is being used, such that any inherent weakness stemming from the paradigmatic approach used, for example, inability to explain why an observed causal relationship exists, will prevail regardless of the specific research design. For example, experimental used within a methodological paradigm. 3.11 For Journal of Mixed Methods Research, Denzin 1978 recommended the use of between-method triangulation, contending that by utilizing mixed methods, the bias inherent in any particular data source, investigators, and particularly method will be cancelled out when used in conjunction with other data sources, investigators, and methods. p. 14. And B. The result will be a convergence upon the truth about some social phenomenon. p. 14. According to Denzin, 3 outcomes arise from triangulation: convergence, inconsistency, and contradiction. Whichever of these outcomes prevail, the researcher can construct superior explanations of the observed social phenomena. Although acknowledging that triangulation may not be suitable for all research purposes, JIC 1979 noted the following advantages of triangulation. It allows researchers to be more confident of their results. B. It stimulates the development of creative ways of collecting data. C. It can lead to thicker, richer data. D. It can lead to the synthesis or integration of theories. E. It can uncover contradictions. And F. By virtue of its comprehensiveness, it may serve as the litmus test for competing theories. Morse 1991 outlined 2 types of methodological triangulation: simultaneous or sequential. According to Morse, simultaneous triangulation represents the simultaneous use of qualitative and quantitative methods in which there is limited interaction between the 2 sources of data during the data collection stage, but the findings complement one another at the data interpretation stage. On the other hand, sequential triangulation is utilized when the results of one approach are necessary for planning the next method. While Denzin 1978, JIC 1979, and others were promoting triangulation, Sieber, by identifying representative sample members as well as outlying i.e. deviant cases. Conversely, at the design stage, qualitative data can assist the quantitative component of a study by helping with conceptual and instrument development. At the data collection stage, quantitative data can play a role in providing baseline information and helping to avoid elite bias, talking only to high-status individuals. On the other hand, at the data collection stage, qualitative data can help in facilitating the data collection process. During the data analysis stage, quantitative data can facilitate the assessment of generalizability of the qualitative data and shed new light on qualitative findings. Alternatively, during the data analysis stage, qualitative data can play an important role by interpreting, clarifying, describing, and validating quantitative results, as well as through grounding and modifying. In order to provide richer data, third, combinations are used to initiate new modes of thinking by attending to paradoxes that emerge from the two data sources. By examining published research, Green, Caroselli, and Graham 1989 inductively, identify the following 5 broad purposes or rationales of mixed methodologicity: a triangulation, i.e., seeking convergence and corroboration of results from different methods studying the same phenomenon; b. complementarity, i.e., seeking elaboration, enhancement, illustration, clarification of the results from one method with results from the other method; c. development, i.e., using the results from one method to help inform the Johnson et al. Toward a definition. 116 Journal of Mixed Methods Research. Other method. D. Initiation, i.e., discovering paradoxes and contradictions that lead to a reframing of the research question, and the expansion, i.e., seeking to expand the breadth and range of inquiry by using different methods for different inquiry components. In 1979, Reichard and Cook made a plea for program evaluators to use both quantitative and qualitative methodological paradigms. They pointed out that although specific research methods and techniques are sometimes linked to methodological paradigms, it is nonetheless our view that the paradigmatic perspective which promotes this incompatibility between the method types is an error. p. 11. They also pointed out that one will often want to sample attributes from each paradigm on the same dimension. For instance, comprehensive evaluations should be process-oriented as well as outcome-oriented, exploratory as well as confirmatory. There is no reason for researchers to be constrained to either one of the traditional, though largely arbitrary, paradigms when they can have the best from both. pp. 18-19. Cook 1985 coined the term critical multiplism. Also see Houts, Cook, and Shadish, 1986, to refer to the ideas that research questions can be examined from different perspectives, and it is often useful to combine different methods with different biases. Generally speaking, evaluation as a field has moved more quickly into the use of mixed methods research than has psychological and even educational research, perhaps because of the very practical nature of evaluation research and the need for multiple sources of evidence when judging social programs. Secarist and Sedana 1995 listed 4 reasons for methodological pluralism: a. for verification purposes, b. to provide some basis for estimating possible error in the underlying measures, c. to facilitate the monitoring of data collected, and d. to probe a data set to determine its meaning. Also, Jurek and Abraham 1993, pp. 76-77 identified the following 6 pursuits that link qualitative and quantitative research: a. the pursuit of mastery over self and the world, b. the pursuit of understanding through recomposition, c. the pursuit of complexity reduction to enhance understanding, d. the pursuit of innovation, e. the pursuit of meaningfulness, and f. the pursuit of truthfulness. Most recently, Collins, Onwegbuzi, and Sutton 2006 identified 4 rationales for conducting mixed research: participant enrichment, for example, mixing quantitative and qualitative research to optimize the sample using techniques that include recruiting participants, engaging in activities such as institutional review board debriefings, ensuring that each participant selected is appropriate for inclusion, instrument fidelity, for example, assessing the appropriateness and/or utility of existing instruments, creating new instruments, monitoring performance of human instruments, treatment integrity, i.e., assessing fidelity of intervention, and significance enhancement, for example, facilitating thickness and richness of data, augmenting interpretation and usefulness of findings. Meanwhile, in recent years, some of the strongest supporters of qualitative research, such as Denzin, Lincoln, and Guba, have, at times, made statements that appear to give credence to mixed methods research. For example, Lincoln and Guba 1985 acknowledge that, indeed, there are many opportunities for the naturalistic investigator to utilize quantitative data, probably more than are appreciated. pp. 198199. Also, Guba and Lincoln 1989 stated that the information may be quantitative or qualitative. Responsive evaluation does not rule out quantitative modes, as is mistakenly believed by many, but deals with whatever. Johnson et al. Toward a definition 117. Information is responsive to the unresolved claim, concern, or issue. p. 174. Further, Guba and Lincoln 1994 noted that both qualitative and quantitative methods may be used appropriately with any research paradigm. p. 105. Similarly, Guba and Lincoln 2005 reiterated that within each paradigm, mixed methodology strategies may make perfectly good sense. p. 200. They also declared, as we try to make it clear, the argument arising in the social sciences was not about method, although many critics of the new naturalistic, ethnographic, phenomenological, and/or case study approaches assumed it was. p. 200. Guba and Lincoln 2005 posed and answered the following question: is it possible to blend elements of one paradigm into another so that one is engaging in research that represents the best of both worldviews? The answer, from our perspective, has to be a cautious yes. This is especially so if the model's paradigms share axiomatic elements that are similar or that resonate strongly between them. p. 201. Schwann 2000-2006 has taken a stronger position on the paradigm wars, calling into question the need for the divisions or differentiation and the defining through opposition of qualitative and other research. He has pointed out that it is highly questionable whether such a distinction between qualitative inquiry and quantitative inquiry is any longer meaningful for helping us understand the purpose and means of human inquiry. 2000 p. 210. Schwann 2000 also declared the following: our research is interpretive, and we face a multiplicity of methods that are suitable for different kinds of understandings. So the traditional means of coming to grips with one's identity as a researcher by aligning oneself with a particular set of methods or being defined in one's department as a student of qualitative or quantitative methods is no longer very useful. If we are to go forward, we need to get rid of that distinction.